beyond that, what Primerica was to me and how I viewed my mentors was they had to basically mold me, shape me. I was very rough around the edges. I was completely uneducated in the right areas, right? And the company taught me, and my mentors taught me what I needed to do, how I needed to think, how I needed to behave, how I needed to act, what I needed to focus on, right? What areas I needed to cut back on and what areas I needed to, move forward on. And so that's how I view myself. So sometimes if you're brand new in here or someone doesn't really understand, like they're like, oh, I just thought I'd join this cool opportunity and I'm going to come hear some cool stuff. Yes, that is what is, what we do here. But in reality, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to really impress upon you the things that you need to do to get better in life and business, financially. And that's where these trainings kind of come from. And that's where my toughness. So what am I trying to say? I'm rambling here, right? But what I'm trying to say is, for example, the company puts out these trips and I see Shondell going through the scoring, and I don't want to embarrass people by calling them out and being like, hey, tell me how the scoring works to win a trip to the Bahamas, to Hawaii, to Colorado Springs, to Cancun, to California, to the Fontainebleau in Miami, to the Dominican Republic. Like, this would be a dream to a lot of people. And I see week after week us explaining stuff, and that's the time that everyone decides to go through their phones and kind of look down, not paying attention. And Jen can find it funny because she wins every trip. Shondell can find it funny because she wins. How is that funny for you? The company is giving away trips. People don't even know the scoring. Can you imagine that? Do you know how much these trips cost? I know, man, some people in here, maybe your family have money, maybe you have a little bit of money and you can do stuff like this. I know there's a lot of people on Zoom, you do things like this once in a while, and I get it. It might not be a big deal to you, but to someone like me, man, it was the biggest deal in the world. And if you were going to recruit someone like me and you can't even explain to me how the scoring works, how in the world am I going to compete if you're not even competing because you don't even know how it works? And you know why it's important right now? And forgive me, I know you're brand new. What's your name? Ariba's probably like, what the hell did I come into? Okay? But this is, you know what? This is what winning sounds like. This is what management, leadership, ownership sounds like when they care about you and your best interests. I'm going to win the trip, right? She's going to win the trip. She's going to win the trip. We want you to win the trip. And how about we learn about how the scoring works? Why is it important that I talk about this today? Because it's the first month of the new contest. It doesn't help if you figure out the scoring and you start talking to your team about the scoring of the trip 4 months in when you're already 4 months behind and you're not on track. This is not something, this is all expense paid, right? It's not something where, I forgot what I was going to say, all right? You guys, it's just, I'm trying to get back on that thread of what I was saying in regards to just how important this is, right? When I came in the business, some people talk about, hey, do this for your kids, do this for your spouse, do this for your family. My family was fine. I don't have a family of my own even today. What drove me was these other things that the company put out there. I had never been good at anything before, right? I'd been average at a lot of things, but I'd never been good at anything. And when the company taught me the scoring, that's what I was going to say. This is not something that it's like hitting the lottery, Kalina, right? The way I see people not paying attention to this, it's like, that's just a few people that are going to win that. No, they take how many people? How many people do they take? 3,000 people. That's what I was trying to remember. This isn't something that we're talking about all expense paid trip where it's 1 out of a million. That's how most companies work, right? Bank of America has trips. Goldman Sachs has trips. I've seen them when, their AIG has trips. Their companies leave, and then we come in sometimes to the same destination, and I see 100 people leaving and 3,000 people coming. That's a hard trip to win. When you sign up those little flyers and they're like, win a free trip, right? You know that's 1 in a million, unless they're selling you a timeshare, right? This is not like that. I knew nothing about financial services. I had no experience, and I lost my first trip. I figured it out. I've never lost since then. I was 6 months in. I was 23 years old at that time. I came in at 22. After being in 6 months, I was 23. I've never lost. You know, if you look at Sheila, she will point to, I talked about this in the full-timers meeting, she will point to and reference what she learned and who she met at the trips with all the winners that was the catalyst for her to get to the next level. Right? You're selling yourself short, man. If you want to grow, it's about the people that you're around. Your name is? James. James? James should change by attending Primerica meetings because he gets exposure to my thoughts, my ideas, my behavior, my teachings, the other people in here, Shaq. That's how we change in life. You have to change your surroundings. But then even then, Kalina's heard from us for a year straight. She needs new ideas and new thinking and a bigger vision and different stories. So it's exposing yourself to different environments. And that's, you know, this is the first month of a new contest, man. It's not that complicated. You recruit people, you get life insurance, you get other people licensed, but you got to understand the scoring. You got to understand the bonus points, you know? And I was talking to Donald, and he was asking me, he's like, oh, you got a sale yesterday. How much did you make? Right? And I was like, oh, only this much. And he's like, oh, that's only to you. And I said, dude, when you have a certain amount of money and you're making a certain amount of money, I'm not saying it's a lot, but what I'm saying is it's a different level to move the needle, right? 1,000, 2,000, that's not going to move the needle. It will when it was when I was 22. Now you got to think, I have to think a lot bigger in order to really impact my life. And I told him, I was like, you're going to see a different intensity in me because the market is down, my money's down. I'm talking about it to you guys that there's a recession that's coming, it's imminent. So you can either change when everything is like super down and slow, or you can start to be preemptive and you can start to think right now, okay, how am I going to behave different? There's going to be a whole new population of people that are going to be able to be recruited because the layoffs are going to start coming, right? The job market is strong. The Federal Reserve is going after that next. It sounds good that there's 2 job openings for every 1 person looking for a job, but that's a tight labor market and they want that to go down. They want to balance that out. So what they do is they start making it more difficult for companies to borrow money. So companies say, hey, if I can't raise money, I can't pay all these people, I can't expand, so I'm going to contract. And then what do they start doing? They start letting people go. And then it floods the job market with new people. Now, if you think about it, right now, everybody can work from home. For the first time in a long time, employees had all the authority, didn't they? Hey, come back to work. No, I'm not. Okay, fine, right? And anyone could demand higher income and all these different benefits and all these different things. I mean, the most powerful companies in America couldn't get people to show up to the office. Can you imagine that? Yeah. All that's over now. I'm telling you, it's over. We're going to have a whole new population of people that got used to a certain lifestyle that are going to have to go back to the office. The question is this: when those people flood the market, are you going to be a better recruiter? Are you going to have your daily habits in check? Are you going to know how to make phone calls? Are you going to know how to prospect? Are you going to know how to set appointments? Are you going to know how to roll over 401ks, right? Are you going to be in practice, or are you still going to be an amateur? Does that make sense? It's so important right now. Primerica is the type of company we take advantages in these downturns. So I told him, I was like, dude, I want to take this thing to a different gear, a different level, right? I got to start doing 10 grand. I got to get new directs. I got to find new producers. I got to do these things. Because what do we tell people, right? Business 101 is what? Revenues minus expenses equals what? Profit. Revenues minus expenses equals profit, right? Now, as a employee, if I work for a company, what's my number one priority? What'd you say? If you're an employee? If I'm an employee, I go home and tell my wife, I can't wait to get a raise this year. If I go into this different, I have these conversations with my clients all the time, right? They want to put me on a different project. They're thinking it's something new, but maybe I can make, a few percent more, and it's awesome, right? Everybody wants to make more. But what did he just say? Every company, especially right now, is thinking about what? Paying less. So your number one priority as an employee is to make as much money as possible. And a company's number one priority is to pay you as little money as possible. Right? Revenues minus expenses. Every company wants as much revenue, but they want the least amount of expenses. Unfortunately, the things that matter to us the most, which is how much money we make, is in a box, Kalina, that they are supposed to keep down. That's a win-lose scenario. And trust me, we're not the ones winning in that scenario. We're losing. You guys with me?
Yes.
Right? Think about it. Every day people go to work and their priority is to make more for their family, which they should. But the company's always conspiring on how to pay less. And we forget about these things, right? Because the economy was very different last couple of years. And I don't want to get into the, why and how and political and all that stuff, but there's a lot of free money floating around. And now all those excesses are being taken away and things are going back to normal, and it's going to shock the system. And so again, how do we take advantage of that? There's going to be a lot of people leaving jobs. We're going to be rolling over the 401ks. There's going to be a lot of people out there looking for side businesses. We're going to hire them. There's going to be people looking for a career change because they tasted what it was like to be home. They don't want to go back into an office. These things with corporations go top down. What's the most powerful company in America? Apple. Apple. And Apple has a bunch of woke people working for them, where the employees make all the rules, and for whatever reason, management listens. No more. They had a memo the other day. They said, listen, for now, you're 1 day in the office. Next week, we're going to be 2 days in the office. And then within a month, you will be 5 days back in the office. And few of the top departments, they came back to management at Apple, and they were like, hey, that's not going to work for our team. These are some of the top departments in Apple. And Apple said, oh, okay. And they're like, all right, so we don't have to come in, right? They're like, no, we accept your resignation.
Oh, dang.
That happened yesterday.
Wow.
This is Apple. So if what are employers going to say, right? What they see Apple, if Apple can pull that off, you think these other smaller companies, and this is tech, that's where the most freedom occurs with people, right? If they're doing that, the banks have been dying to get their employees back in, all the finance people. Everything's going back to normal, right? And people aren't doing it voluntarily. They're putting up a fight eventually because their money's down, their side business is down, their trading is down, whatever other stupid stuff they were doing is down. All the stuff you read on TikTok is down. Right? That's what people are going for financial advice. Josh would show me videos all the time, Sheila, where this one guy goes, you take $50,000 and you put it in a whole life, right? Then you go and you borrow the 50,000 right back.
Right.
So now the 50,000 is in your possession, but the insurance company is still paying you interest on that 50,000. So you're getting interest on something when you borrowed the money. You know how stupid that is? You can't even borrow the 50 once you put it in. You can't even get it out. And they don't pay interest on money that you've already borrowed. This is now, again, it's like what I said on the full-timers meeting. Now we're going to see. We'll see how smart you are. We'll see how good you are. We'll see how motivated you are. We'll see what your followers think of you now. It's just going to be a different time. And I'm not trying to paint doom and gloom. What I'm saying is it might be that for some people, but for us, this is the time, man, to sharpen our skills. Everybody was so arrogant, right? They were doing better in their trading accounts than my mutual funds. Now we'll see, right? Mutual funds are down 20, trading accounts are down 70. How much are trading accounts down, Esmaldo?
99%.
I challenge anyone to come to me and tell me, I already know, right? Tell me you didn't lose 70% of your portfolio if you were not in mutual funds. You can silence that. Just silence it. Right? This is what was happening out there. Now, I got some phone calls and they're like, hey man, thank God you just had me investing in these funds. Because people had both. I never said don't do both. Right? And now they want to up their investments. They're taking it out of that. They're going back into the mutual funds. There's the world, the economy, it goes in cycles. People listen less in certain times, and then they start to listen more again. Everything is turning in our favor. What happens, man? During recessions, companies, they want to spend less. How do they spend less? By getting rid of people, by lowering salaries, by lowering benefits. They can get those benefits with us, right? They can make that extra money with us. They can get that flexibility, that freedom with us. I mean, it's unbelievable to me to think that all of this is happening out there, and in this room here, people are recording record incomes, and we're not even close to where what it's going to become, right? So you guys are in the right place at the right time with the right company, with the right leadership, but this is the time to pay attention.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, right, we're just going to become part of the masses. If you want to stay above and separate, you know, and when things are going down, you're going up, this is the time to pay attention. And that's not an exception for me or Shaq or anyone else. Everybody's on it right now. Okay. So where's Bao? Okay. So you're speaking today, right? So Bao, how many recruits are you after the month? 5. Okay. 5 recruits for the month. Now, I know on my team, recruiting is like abysmal right now. So this talk that I'm giving, hopefully it hits home with some people, because but all we can do, right, is we can bring up the top people to come up and talk about what they're doing, what they're saying, and hopefully we can all take from the top person and we can go incorporate some of those things into our own situation, right? So 5 recruits for the month. We're only halfway. Today's the 14th. She'll probably get 10 directs. And if you meet some of these people, they're, you know, these are above average people in my opinion that she brings in. So let's